Well, Renee, it's time that we get down there and show the second video on personal defense.
Here we go.
Let's go down. Hello, I'm Dr. Russ. Welcome to our home. This is Southeast Michigan. And we're planning today to save this lady with a 17 caliber air pistol. If you tuned into the first version of our self-defense videos, came out last week, you'll see that we used a .357 Magnum, a large bore, and the strategies you might do with that. Now we're going to switch to the 17 caliber and use just a little different strategies. One thing for sure, our target changes based upon the caliber that we use. For example, today when we use a couple of air pistols, our target is going to be his throat. A lot of videos out there today talk about how you can't use air pistols, and I promise you, when you are wakened in the middle of the night with breaking glass and a door being jimmied open, you're going to grab whatever you can, and that just might be a blowback pistol. And this is your target, not the eye. We discussed that last week. You might be wearing safety lenses. There's problems with that eye. In fact, if we did shoot the eye with any gun, often the entire, in this case, my right side, his left side, will go into a paralysis where he can't move his arms and things. And you think, well, that's good. Yes, but we've got a disabled person for the rest of their life. And my strategy is, no, I want a person I can turn into the cops. So we used a .357 out here, hitting his shoulder, knocking him down, loosening his grip, and she could escape. We talked about 17 caliber, not 17, but 22, 25, 30 caliber, and not shooting a gun. We might splatter lead on her. We talked about maybe the hand was better. In some cases it could go through, depending on where his hand is, and even hit him if it went through the fingers, etc. And still a very easy thing to recover from. We talked about ignoring the head. Very, very difficult to get bullets to do any damage on a head. It's hard. I explained how I've seen a bullet from a pistol go in the head, wrap around the head and under the skin and out the backside, just giving the guy one heck of a headache. So we want to avoid the head. We have to avoid her. And if you get involved in practical shooting, as I did, you lose so many points when you hit her that you could put every point perfect on him and you'll not recover from it. So that's what we're going to do. Let's just talk about it. The 17 caliber can go right in here. The 22, 25s, right into this mouth. What we've done is we've escaped the skull. We've got an entranceway. Those calibers could easily break teeth and get into the mouth, and he's going to have trouble handling a hostage situation with spitting out teeth, etc. With the larger, I'm aiming for the shoulder right here. But for our small calibers, I'm going for this throat. There's no skull here or the back. It's easy to penetrate. He's going to have trouble continuing his plan with that. So with that, let's take a look at some options here with handguns. This is one of the handguns I'll be using, and this is a very inexpensive handgun. It does not have the blowback feature, so the blowback is where this top slide goes back and forward. It looks very realistic. It acts very realistic. However, you use up some CO2 energy when you do that. So this gun doesn't have that. I'll use the blowback in just a moment. But this handgun here is going to be shooting between 450 and 480 as we shoot for his throat. We've got a safety on it right here. I want to talk a little bit about the status here, not the status, but the handling of the gun, of a pistol while you shoot. First of all, you've got to have a good grip, and you're going to keep your finger off of that trigger until the moment that you plan to shoot. You're not going to use this goofy stance that gangsters like. I talked about gangs last week, and they like to shoot a gun sideways. That's got problems. You'll see why in a minute. So how do we hold this gun when it's time to shoot? And the answer is this. We're going to face our target. We're going to bring our second hand up. And it's very important that I form a triangle here as I stabilize the gun on the target. I'm going to take my left finger and often place it here in front of that trigger guard right there. And now I've got a very good hold on this gun. One of the reasons that we want this finger on the front is that as we form this triangle, we want this arm totally stiff. This left arm doesn't have to be, because one of the things that it's going to do is it's going to give a little tension. It's going to pull just a hair, so that once this stiff arm has this tension, we have a very stable gun. And that's very, very important. Of course, when we aim, we want the forward sight to fit right into the rear sights. In this case, there's fixed sights, not adjustable. And when you have a fixed sight gun, you're going to have to learn just where it shoots. This gun shoots just a hair low, so I'm actually going to aim for his lips, and we'll see if I don't take out that Adam's apple and that throat. So let's take a look. Well, that first one went right into that neck the way I wanted it. The next one hit his hand. Fortunately, I didn't hit her. But that, I believe, is the most vulnerable position for CO2 BB pistols. Our second air pistol today is going to be this Sig Sauer P226. It's quite realistic. This entire slide will go back and forth as it shoots. We've got safety. The gun is mostly metal, so it's heavier. It's got a nice short Picatinny rail here to put whatever you like, flashlights, lasers, etc. on it. We're going to use the same target, and notice that I did what's called a double tap. In practical shooting, it's always, 2 shots here, 2 shots here, 2 shots here. Kind of as an insurance policy with handguns that you might be doing your job. So that's why I'm shooting twice at this target. Well, let's take a look. Well, we've got another one in the neck, and one just grazed the bottom of his chin. It would probably go right into his neck. These more expensive blowbacks have adjustable sights, front and rear in this particular case. That's kind of nice. And they also shoot around 20 rounds as fast as you can pull the trigger. I'm just going to shoot down there in the water, and I think you'll be able to pick it up. Gives you a little idea of what these air pistols can do. Well, when you purchase them, be at least aware of what the feet per second are on these guns, and I think that you'll want to definitely have some alternative weapons in your house for a self-defense plan. Let's go back up on the shooting deck and talk about what's next. Bowling pins are an old favorite target of mine. I was involved in practical shooting for a long time, and shooting bowling pins off of a table were important. You see, the bowling pin has exactly the same shape as the organs of a man. And in practical shooting, you're shooting at hostage targets, etc. And you're also shooting at bowling pins. Now, these things are hard, about as hard as a skull. And why they were so important in a shoot is that you have to hit them dead center. If you don't, they're not going to sweep off of the table. And the clock doesn't stop until the last one, usually 9 of them, comes completely off the table and is on the ground. 1 inch to the sides. And bingo, what you now have is a spinning bowling pin. And that one is very hard to hit in the center and sweep it off. So you're firing and firing, trying to get those spinners off the table and to the ground. Nonetheless, I didn't do too bad in this competition. So let's just see. I've got a couple of them down there. We're going to shoot them with rifles. And know this, it's important to knock your enemy down, a burglar, whatever. But it's an unsafe thing, too. Let's see how this works out. The first gun I'll use is this crawl puncher breaker. I think I told everybody when I first analyzed this gun that it's a turkey gun. It is. It's made in Turkey. And crawl in the Turkish language actually means the king, or royal, if you will. And that's what they're saying about their guns, that they're a royal gun made for kings. And I find them to be a pretty good gun. This happens to be a 25 caliber. Let's see how it does down below on these bowling pins. Willie, he's off the table. I think the camera will show that there's a dot right at the bottom, and it was a centered shot. The problem is just not enough power to sweep him completely off. Well, this happens to be the Benjamin Armata, and it also shooting the 25 caliber. Let's see how it does. Well, again, another center shot, but I think it kind of fell off on its own rather than me sweeping it off, of course, with some big caliber powder gun. Here is the Benjamin Bulldog. We'll see how it does. Well, it would help if I put one in the chamber. A little bit more bang, but nonetheless, gives you a little idea of what bowling pin shoots were all about for those who get really involved in practical shooting. Let me just share a couple of things about home defense and putting someone down. It's not all that necessary. In Vietnam, it actually got kind of dangerous because after a firefight, we had to go into the jungle and check all those enemy out. Some of them were still on the ground alive. They still had guns, and they still could shoot you as you walked up. It was a very dangerous thing. Same thing can happen in a burglar in a house. You just don't know once he's down if he's going to stay down, so you have to be very careful. Even when you're hunting and you have a squirrel, you've got to take the barrel of that gun and hit that squirrel or that deer to make sure, because they've gotten up before, and they've got horns, the squirrels had teeth. I had a squirrel almost get my fingers. So you've got to be very careful once something's down. Anyway, we'd walk out in that jungle to check on that enemy. We had to do it because they often, the officers had maps in their pockets and notes from their generals, etc. And it was our job to make sure that got back to the home office. Fortunately, we didn't have to fix them. We didn't have enough medical supplies to fix our own. And I just get a little bit of willies when I know a guy is down and we have to approach him. You want to be very, very careful. One thing for sure, when you do shoot somebody, you want to make sure that you're using one of your lesser alternatives. You want to be able to stand in front of police and prosecutor and let them know that you could have done this horrible thing, but you did this reasonably good thing. You put them down, you put a tourniquet on them, and you kept them alive until an ambulance came. That's what's on my mind anyway. In any personal protection plan, it's important that you know your air gun, your alternative weapons, and that you know where you hid them. And maybe you hid the ammo or a magazine of ammo someplace else. It's important that you know, because you could be awakened in the middle of the night. Let me give you a demonstration. Hollowhead, come here a minute. I know it's the middle of the day and it's broad daylight, but I want you to turn off the lights anyway. Okay, now that you've turned off the lights, let's see if I can find my air rifle. Let's see if I can find my air pistol. Where in the world is my ammo and that magazine? Where's my cell phone? Where's my flashlight? Where are these things now that my back is against the wall and I have somebody in the house who doesn't belong there? Okay, Hollowhead, turn the lights back on. I think that you might have got an idea of what I was talking about there. When you're broken into, you're going to be surprised. And you need to know exactly where these things of protection are kept. You're also going to need to know not just your weapons, your gun, your ammo, but you also need to know your home. Your home. You need to know where the baby's room is. You need to know where the children sleep. You need to know where any guests are in the house. These are very important things. And if you have a large bore gun that can go through cinder block, you probably need to know which walls have neighbors on the other side. Let me also talk about your personal protection plan with alternative weapons. Keep in mind where we're going with this. It's important that when the police arrive and I'm sitting in their desk or their offices, or they take me over to the prosecutor's office, it's very important that my get out of jail free card is that I showed some restraint. I just didn't blast away and blow somebody's brains up. Alternative weapons is where that comes in. I think my first weapon of choice is actually my cell phone, calling 911, get the police there. My second choice is one of these high-powered flashlights. If you've got an old flashlight with 2 D cells in it, you need to know that only lights up to 35 lumens. I've got a flashlight that goes up to 1,500 lumens. And if I shined it in your eyes, you're blind for 7, 8, 9 minutes. You can't see a thing, just a big spotlight in your pupils here. And I could do anything with you once I've blinded you. And by then the police would arrive. So my second is one of these very ultra powerful flashlights. You can find them at your local hardware store. I've even seen Sam's and Costco have them. And they sell them 3 at a time on a placard. My third favorite is a slingshot with a .50 caliber marble in it. Oh my goodness. I use this hunting. I think I shared it last week. I like to shoot the thicket and get the wild boar out. I like to shoot across the woods and scare up some deer so they come my way and are afraid of the noise that's made over there by that marble. But a slingshot is a deadly weapon. David used it against Goliath. You want to know your air gun. That's going to be my 4th weapon, an air gun, and my 5th is a powder gun. Notice I said the 5th. A lot of people want to move that one up to the 1st place. I think it's more skillful if we just have it in line, and I'm prepared to use it if I have to. I want to use one of these first 4 guns first. And in all likelihood, I'll be showing the the police and the prosecutor that I showed restraint. If it's possible, try to even help stop the bleeding or help this person. It could be a young boy, 15 years old, on the ground. That will help in this end result of meeting with the police. Now, we have some summer videos planned with drones. We've got some shooting that we're doing with a drone pulling white bags of powder across the sky, and I'm going to shoot those powders as those drones pass by. We're also going to show a speedboat in the pond behind me, and it's going to pull a barge with some explosive type targets on it. So you don't want to miss those summer videos, and one of the best ways is, if you haven't already, consider subscribing. Yeah, you're going to get tickled every 2 weeks as we put out a new video, and you can ignore those, but at least you'll know when these videos are coming, and you'll have the chance to watch them if you can. Another important thing is it's no gratification to me, but consider hitting that thumbs up, because if you don't, I promise you, Google hits a thumbs down. Google and YouTube has this complex algorithm, call it a recipe if you will, and they're looking at all kinds of things. How many people visited the site? How long did they stay on the site? And did they hit the thumbs up? Did they leave a comment? And those things go into a recipe, and that decides where your videos show up, right alongside your screen on a computer or at the bottom on a cell phone. And I'll get a little more exposure and some new viewers. We just passed 25,000 around the world. We've even got the subtitles in for Germans and French and English, etc., etc. So this video program of ours is growing very, very fast. Thank you very much. And know this last thing. I personally answer all comments, and that's part of that algorithm they have too. But the fact is, I really do get gratified answering your questions, your concerns, or just your comments with each video. Know that I do that early each morning. Until next time, I'll see you.